everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out the XPG Cybercore II. This is their modular power supply. XPG is sponsoring today's video, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. There is a 1000 watt version, which we have here, and there's also a 1300 watt version if you need even more juice. Take a look at the retail box and packaging, multiple platinum ratings. We have our 12 volt high power cable ATX 3.0. And then moving around to the back side of the box, we have our product specs, cable breakout here, lots of charts and graphs for us for all of our power information. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature with our quick start guide, and it does talk about the 10-year warranty on this power supply. We also have our sticker sheet, followed by our XPG branded cable bag, 4 screws for installation for the power supply, plenty of cable ties. We have our power cord and cable right here. Then we have all of our modular cables and the power supply itself. Let's take a look at these in more detail. Starting with the cables, first we have 2 SATA cables here, followed by 4 PCIe cables here. Then we have 2 CPU cables here, 1 motherboard cable here. I believe it's a Molex adapter, past my time. 2 different versions there. And then we have our 12 volt high power cable here with our 600 watt rating right there on the cable, so you know exactly what it's going to be good for your GPU. Onto the power supply unit itself, we have a sticker at the bottom with all of its key tech specs for you, 80 plus platinum rated. Let me show you all the connection options on this side with the XPG logo and branding. Get a nice close-up there of everything you can connect. All the room you have for expansion. Side profile, Cybercore II branding, other side profile, same thing. Then on the back side, on and off switch, power connector, some venting. Take a look at the fan with the XPG logo and branding front and center. And that's a look at the power supply from all different sides and angles. Before going any further, let's address a common question that we get. A lot of times you'll ask, will this work with my GPU and CPU? So I went ahead, I threw together a chart that shows you the NVIDIA GPUs and the recommended wattage that they need. And we did the same thing for some popular AMD GPUs as well. Keep in mind, this is just for your GPU, so it'd be best to add an extra 100 or 150 watts for your CPU, depending on if you're using like an entry-level or mid-range CPU, or if you're using a top-of-the-line flagship CPU. But anyways, here's a look at NVIDIA GPUs first. From 550 watts all the way up to 1000 watts. You should be able to find your model anywhere from the 3050 up to the 5090. And moving along to the AMD GPU side of things, 650 watts all the way up to 850 watts. And same thing, don't forget to add in an extra 100 to 150 watts for your CPU, whether that's Intel or AMD. Well, good news for all you out there that have an RTX 5090. No concerns here with the 1000 watt or the 1300 watt model. Now let's go ahead, let's power it up and test out some voltages. All right, we got the power supply plugged in and connected to our meter here. Let's go ahead, let's boot it up. Blue is what we want to see. Blue is good. So let's test a couple of our connections right now. So far, so good for all those values you see here. 5 to 5 volt, 12 to 12 volt, 3.2 to 3.3 volt, 11.9 to 12 volt, 5 to 5 ESB, and then a PG score of 179 milliseconds. We want to see that anywhere between 100 and 500. So everything is well within range there for our motherboard cable. Let's keep moving along. PCIe 11.9 to 12, that's great. CPU 12 to 12, perfect. And then we have our SATA cable right here. Everything is blue as we would expect. So far, so good with the initial test. Very quickly, let me touch on installation for anybody that's watching this installing a power supply for the first time. So our test bench here might look a little bit different than your typical PC case, but the same principles follow. Regardless, you'll be connecting your CPU power, your motherboard power, and your GPU power. It just might look a little bit different depending on your motherboard and other parts and components. But for us, 3080FE, we'll be using the 12-volt high power connector, motherboard connector, and 2 CPU connectors right there on our headers for our motherboard. So very simple power options for us with our test bench, and this is what it'll look like on the power supply. So you have your 2 split ends here for the motherboard connected to the unit itself, and then your 1 single cable. That's going to be what's going to connect right there, and it'll only go one way, so make sure that that clip aligns with the little lip on your header to get that properly connected. Then we have our 12-volt high power cable, both 600-watt ends, so pick and choose which end you want to use, but this is going to go into our GPU, and we got to make sure that we have it plugged in properly. Same thing. Clip will go right there to the little tab on the end, and make sure it's fully seated to avoid any issues. And then everything else is going to be, we have 2 CPU cables that we have. They even have CPU on them. So you can use those cables and you're going to connect those right there on your motherboard. So hopefully that makes sense. For us, it's 2 CPU, 1 motherboard, 1 GPU. So cable management isn't the point. I just want you guys to be able to see everything connected here. 2 CPU right there, motherboard right there, GPU right there, and then we have our wall power right here going into the unit itself. Now let's go ahead, let's power it on. All right, so we're at the power source right here with a meter on it. Again, PC just booted up. Everything's at idle right now. We're fluctuating anywhere between, let's call it 60 watts to 100 watts, give or take. Kilowatt hours. Now you can see volts, amps, and then we got our low watt, high watt, and then back to where we're currently at. All right, let's move on to our stress test. So we've been stress testing our CPU and GPU. It's the Intel 13900K. And it's our RTX 3080 FE, both being maxed out at 100% for over 30 minutes, trying to stress out this power supply. Take a look at our CPU voltage right here, min, average, and max, coming in right at about 1.3 right now. Take a look at our wattage, 387 watts, maxed at 411. And then moving along to our GPU, 0.775 volts, maxed at 0.825 volts. And then for our watts, 319 watts, and that's right about the max as well. But been running for over 30 minutes without any issues. So far, so good. Now let's look at it back at the wall where it's plugged in. Back at the wall, currently under that full load and stress, 843.7 watts. Moving along to 0.485 kilowatt hours, 118.5 volts. Again, this is all maxed out. 7.12 amps. Our low, 1.7 watts. And we peaked at 861.3 watts right there. And then back to where we started, currently at 842 watts right at the wall. You know we're getting the FLIR camera out. First, we'll start with the GPU and that 12-volt high power cable connector right at 150 degrees or less. The GPU itself is nice and toasty though. Take a look at some of those hot spots. Moving along to the motherboard header here with our main cable, under 100 degrees Fahrenheit, nice and cool. CPU cables right here, that 120 degree range. The board itself getting really toasty over here. Take a look at that, almost 190 degrees Fahrenheit right next to those cables. So keeping everything nice and cool in perspective for the CPU there. And looking at the power supply unit itself, we got our hotspot on the back there. Like 110-ish degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 115. Nice and cool up by the fan. Try to see if we can get any of those internal components. Pretty cool. There's everything. Well, so far so good. Time will tell to see how long it lasts, but XPG really believes in this power supply by backing it with a 10-year warranty. In regards to how loud this power supply is in regards to that fan, the fan will kick on once it's being stressed and under a heavy load, but I couldn't hear the fan over the little whine in our RTX 3080, and the fans on this cooling system and the pump are a lot louder than anything we're hearing from the fan itself. So I'd say it's a nice and quiet power supply.